The Senate is an inherently unfair body. And while I personally admire and am very fond of some senators, we've had many senators on this show, great people, put them in the House of Representatives, get rid of the Senate.
You revolutionary.
Abolish the Senate. Hello and welcome to Hysteria. I'm Erin Ryan.
And I'm Alyssa Mastromonaco.
Let's get to the news.
Boo.
Yeah, boo indeed when it comes to news. I was thinking this week, Alyssa, that I kind of want to offset my feeling of letdown with the people in government by starting like a disappointment fantasy league where I know, I just am making this up right now, where we take all of the people that are supposed to be working for us in Washington. You know, we make a big list and then we draft from them who we think will disappoint us the most. And then we get points depending on how disappointing they are.
That speaks to me. I feel like I'd be good at that.
I feel like you would probably kick my ass at this because you're more familiar with the myriad ways that people can disappoint in Washington,
Yeah, but
DC.
that actually makes you more susceptible to disappointment because I am profoundly aware of how disappointed we will be.
Sure. But you would be good at drafting the people who would be most disappointing, for sure.
Totally agree.
I kind of want to do this, and I think I'm going to send you a text message with this afterwards. Here's the thing. Right now, Democrats are in charge of the White House and both houses of legislature, and yet we do not have paid family leave. Abortion rights are completely on the chopping block, and there is no federal legislation that is going to step in and protect it once the Supreme Court dismantles Roe v. Wade. We're just not doing what women are not being paid the same. There's been no progress in that arena. There's all kinds of things that are just not happening in Washington, D.C. And so what people have done and what people have decided is that now we have to look to the states. We have to trust the people in state government to protect the rights that we thought we would have for our entire lives, which is crazy. Like, can you imagine if you like got transferred in your job to a different state? Not like we work in jobs where we could get transferred and have to move, but if you did and you got transferred from, say, California to Texas.
Stressful.
Yeah, absolutely stressful. I don't know. This makes me pretty nervous. I'm glad that there are states that are stepping up to protect abortion rights. New Jersey, for example, just passed a Freedom of Reproductive Choice Act because the federal government is not going to protect reproductive choice. It is a bill that guarantees abortion rights in the state. It's a kind of pared down version of a bill that they were trying to pass before when the state government was a little bit more to the left. And the version of the bill they were trying to pass before would have mandated insurers cover abortion care, which is wild to me.
It's wild.
It's wild, but you know what? Long time ago, when I worked at a financial firm, abortion was covered by the insurance that the giant financial firm had. It was covered just like any other procedure.
I've had periods of life too where that was covered. Now I can't even get my birth control covered currently, but that's fine.
How did that happen?
So, interesting thing. I've used the NuvaRing for 20 years at this point, and NuvaRing is no longer being made, but there's a generic. The generic, because the NuvaRing was around for so long, this is per my insurance company, mind you. Because NuvaRing was around for so long before the generic, the NuvaRing's considered the generic. So the generic is $60 a month until there's like no NuvaRing left in the marketplace, which I don't know how long that'll be. Like, what if there's one lone ring in Nebraska somewhere and I'm still going to have to pay $60 a month for my generic version, which, I mean, I'm going to be 46 years old next month. I'm not using it for birth control. I'm just trying to keep my hormones in check. Like, that's... Oh
my God.
I know. Isn't that fucked?
Are you going to have to amass a team of former NuvaRing users who are being charged a lot by their insurance companies to go on a quest to round up and capture the remaining NuvaRings?
I'm hoping that's what I just did.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they did with the California condor. That's how they saved it from total extinction. They rounded up all of the living specimens in the wild, and then they trained them not to run into power lines, and then they released them out into the wild again.
So it's like, Erin, I guess that all that is to say that I don't feel super stoked and confident about like any of what's happening right now if my NuvaRing isn't even like getting covered.
Right. That seems to me like, I mean, Obamacare was pretty specific about birth control being covered,
Mhm.
and insurance companies since then have done everything they can to weasel their way out of covering stuff.
Shady motherfuckers.
And like, who do you call if you can't get your insurance company to cover? Do you call like Barack Obama and you're like, sir, excuse me?
You know, I've gone down the rabbit hole on this, and apparently there's an appeals process I can participate in where I write a bunch of letters.
Oh,
But but this is the thing is that like, we're lucky that we have social media presence, whatever that means. But it's like, I just kind of want to tweet at the healthcare company and start a fire, but like, I can't do it. I just can't.
I mean,
I need
like,
to exhaust all of my options before I take to the internets.
have you tried DMing them?
Their DMs are not open.
I
know.
You know what? Obamacare should have mandated that those DMs remain open. That is one way. We
that's
should
where
be
we're
able
going.
to reach them. Yes.
I got the pen out. I'm writing it down.
Mandate that the DMs be open. There needs to be a way to reach insurance companies that does not require us to take an hour out of our day to sit on hold. Ugh, just terrible. Well, I mean, California, my state, has also attempted to enshrine the right to abortion, which is cool. I mean, you know what? If the Democrats weren't doing that in California, I would be like, they're never going to do it anywhere. Right. Because California currently is like, I think we have a supermajority in California.
It's good for you.
I mean, yeah. I mean, we do have like, it's okay. It's okay.
You know what state I thought I was the most into of all the things that they did?
What?
Mostly because I think it is the most tricky, and it never occurred to me that someone would like take it head on, is Connecticut. Connecticut's governor signed a bill in May that prevents deceptive practices by crisis pregnancy centers.
Ooh.
So basically, they're like these anti-choice fake clinics that don't provide comprehensive reproductive care. They get in and they say everything but the word, you have the right to an abortion. So I thought like, you know what? Good. That seems like low-hanging fruit. Everyone should do that. I mean,
crisis pregnancy centers are so Looney Tunes to me. I mean, literally Looney Tunes. Like, it's like Wile E. Coyote trying to trap the Roadrunner by like making a fake storefront saying like, oh, it's a Roadrunner spa. And then he pulls up the storefront and it's actually, and it's actually like a giant oven, but then Roadrunner evades him. It's so gross to me. And I can say that now that I've had a kid, that I've gone through labor, that I've pushed a baby out of me, I've never felt more pro-choice in my life. Like, nobody should.
Because you should have all the choices.
Right. I'm super glad that I have my baby. I would make the choice again. But the commitment, physical commitment, the emotional commitment, the mental commitment that it requires is intense. And like, if I were pregnant and didn't want to be pregnant and was, didn't have enough money to support a baby and was alone.
That's a prison.
Yeah, that's like a war crime to me.
Right.
I can't. And the idea that these clinics pop up and they like try to convince people to continue their pregnancies, a lot of times with the intent of convincing these women to give their children up for adoption, it's so gross to me. It makes me, I'm good for Connecticut. That's a great move. New Mexico had a trigger law on the books and they actually overturned it. New Mexico continuing to be one of America's greatest states.
Most beautiful and just making shit happen.
Yes, absolutely. Like, but kind of under the radar. Like whenever you see New Mexico in the news, you're like, there you
go again.
Yeah, exactly. And Virginia also did some kind of like backdoor paperworky stuff where they made it so that insurers can cover abortion. It used to be in Virginia that insurers could not cover abortion, and now they can. Seems kind of like, oh, okay. It should have been that way before, but whatever. States are making moves to preserve access to abortion and to reproductive choice. But, until the federal government makes some moves to do it, I don't think that we can really rest on our laurels here. Because, we're not living in an equal society if some people are more equal than others.
Totally. I mean, it's like that's the whole point of Roe.
Exactly. We need the ERA. We need the ERA.
We need the ERA. Long may she live.
Man, did you read that article in the 19th this week?
Yeah.
What do you think about a coming legal battle to enact the ERA?
You know, I feel like if I were a judge, I'd be like, let's do this already. It keeps coming back. These people aren't going away. This seems fundamental, you know? So I'm glad. I think that some more folks joined the ongoing lawsuit, and they were the latest states, I think Virginia, Nevada, and Illinois, to ratify the ERA in their own state houses. Anyone who's working on the ERA, just DM me. I'll help. I would do anything to I just want a ERA proud t-shirt, you know? Equal rights in 2022 seems like at least one thing we should be able to get done, but I don't know.
It should be codified. It should be codified. The word woman does not appear in the Constitution, which is troublesome. It doesn't. There's no...
Fuck. That's my surprise. I was like, wait, really? But of course not. It's all men. What was I thinking?
Exactly. What's a woman? It's a person minus. But except a person plus, because they're the way that the species reproduces, but whatever. I think that the ERA, if it were to actually, our pie in the sky dream were to be realized and it were to become ratified and it were to become an amendment to the Constitution, then it would be pretty impossible for abortion to be banned at the federal level.
Exactly.
Because Roe wasn't that great of a case anyway.
And just for folks who haven't spent as much time thinking or talking about the ERA as we have, the issue is that so many states ratified it back in what year, Erin? I don't even remember. Early
I don't know.
70s.
A year that they were more forward thinking than they are now.
That the argument is that those states need to go back and re-ratify it because the term of 7 years or whatever the amendment, the ratification was good for, has expired on the majority of the states.
But that was just an arbitrary law that people put in place.
Yes.
It was, 38 states.
38
anyway,
states.
Yeah, it's crazy because I believe that Wisconsin ratified it. I cannot see them doing it now.
No, I think there are quite a few states that fall into that category.
It's so depressing. You know what? We should all have to go back to our home areas to vote. Like
they did in Ireland. Didn't they do that in Ireland to ratify abortion?
I think so. But I was actually thinking in the Bible when Joseph dragged his super pregnant wife all the way to Bethlehem because they had to participate in a census.
You went even further.
Right. I think, yes, very further back in time. But I think that we should all just... I will go back to... I wish I could absentee vote in Wisconsin. I'm tempted to just move there for a couple years to be fuck, who can I offset? Come on.
That's how I approach my voting now. I'm registered in a very purple county as opposed to New York City.
Yeah, but you spend all your time in a purple... You spend all your time
and I actually live here. I live here, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's not fraud. It's not fraud.
It's not fraud. It's I live here. You can find me sanding my driveway at any time.
Alyssa, I want to kind of pivot to talking about voting rights. This is sort of what got me thinking about the Disappointment Fantasy League. And I just would love to hear from you how you think the voting rights battle is going and, what your feedback is on recent events.
You're trying to get me in so much trouble because I was so hot about this. Look, we need the voting rights. 2022 and elections beyond are going to be, in my opinion, this is all my opinion, real chaos if we don't get some shit in check and some more protections in place based on how many hundreds of very bad laws have been passed by legislatures across the country over the past couple of years. So we're recording on Wednesday. On Tuesday, President Biden and Vice President Harris went to Georgia to do a big push for voting rights. And while their speeches were very good, there were some complicating things. One, the voting rights activists who delivered Georgia, delivered the U.S. Senate majority, essentially, by electing Warnock and Ossoff. They were kind of why are you coming down here if you don't have a plan to fucking pass this shit? Now, I am, of course, someone who, was on the other side of this for a long time. I worked in the White House. And of course, when the president comes, you should show up. It's an act of respect. Now, I kind of get where these guys are coming from, though, because what happened is the speech, while was very good and very forceful, and President Biden came out for making changes to the filibuster to be able to pass the voting rights legislation. A lot of the speech was shaming the Republicans, which they should be shamed. Okay, they're being terrible. However, I mean, we got some problems in our own house that are going to prevent us from doing this, because Manchin said on Tuesday that while he was in favor of certain small changes to the filibuster, none of which would get these bills passed. One of the changes that he said, which I had to read because, I've told you sometimes I have reading comprehension issues, and I'm like, did I read that correctly? I had to go back and read it, because what he was actually saying was that he was in favor of, this is like what he was in favor of is like a very Senate-y thing, which is there's sometimes this thing called a motion to proceed, which you have to vote on in order to proceed to the bill you want to move on to. And what he was saying is that he was in favor of moving to 2/3 of the senators present in the chamber to vote. So it didn't have to be 2/3 of all the senators. It was like those in the chamber. And basically, it wasn't super hopeful. So I appreciate that everybody went down to Atlanta yesterday, and that they're going to move. There is going to be a vote. I think that in one of these, in some instances, it's important to get caught trying, right?
Mm-hmm.
That you have to force a vote. You have to get people on record for how they stand. I think that is more of a helpful maneuver when it's shocking, or, I just, like Joe Manchin said, he's not voting for it. I don't remember where Sinema comes down, but, I think the only Republican hope is Lisa Murkowski, who I think said she would vote for the John Lewis voting bill, but not the other one. And so, I'm just like, it just feels a bit like we used the theater a little too late, if you know what I mean.
Right. So I have two questions. First of all, is it time for Virginia to invade West Virginia? Because I think Virginia could just like add it on.
They could just take all of the statues they took down and like just use them as the military. I mean, like, right? That was so dumb.
Well,
I don't even know
they could Home Alone the battle.
Yes,
like how Kevin
exactly.
put the Michael Jordan cutout in his window, and so there was a silhouette.
You were picking up what I was putting down.
Yeah, Virginia could line up the statues, and they'd be like, "Whoa, huge army!" Because anyway, yeah, no, I get it, I get it. Second thing is, I wonder if this whole headachy battle over the filibuster is sort of. I've seen like some kind of chatter about like, well, it won't be fair if the minority doesn't have any rights in the Senate. Like if we abolish the filibuster, it won't be fair. Well, guess fucking what? The Senate isn't fair. It is absolutely ridiculous that California, with 50 plus million people, has as many senators as Wyoming, which has about as many people as like a city block in LA. Like LA County has more people.
Washington, D.C.'s got nothing.
Washington, D.C. has nothing. And there's more. They have more people in D.C. than there are in, I believe, Wyoming. Is it Vermont?
I don't. It's something.
There's a couple.
DC's
there's
up
a couple states where like there are more people in D.C. and they do not have senators. The Senate is an inherently unfair body. And while I personally admire and am very fond of some senators, we've had many senators on this show. Great people. Put them in the House of Representatives. Get rid of the Senate.
You revolutionary.
Abolish the Senate. Just put Nancy Pelosi in charge of the entire legislative branch for the next 8 months. It's going to be chaos. It's going to be great.
You know what? It might be time. Might be time for everybody to start bunking together.
Honestly, it's so unpopular that I bet you could get 38 states to ratify an amendment to the Constitution to just get rid of the Senate. That's how unpopular legislators are.
You heard it here first.
I mean, I'm half kidding. If it were to happen, I would be like, yay, I was in favor of it. And if it were not to happen, I'd be like, I was just joking.
Political witchcraft wins again.
Exactly. Do you want to move on to toasts and roasts?
Yeah, let's toast and roast.
Okay, so I have some notes in my outline on this individual that I'm about to toast. And my notes are, WTF? How? And I bet you can guess which story this is. This is the story of British Army officer Preet Chandi, who is 32 and just completed her expedition to reach the South Pole solo on skis. She reached the southernmost point of the Earth on January 3rd, which was a 700-mile trip. 700-mile trip in 40 days. 40 days on skis for 700 miles. She pulled her belongings behind her in a sled that weighed 192 pounds.
Correct.
What?
What?
How?
She should go to the Senate.
How? I mean, how?
That is, like when people do things like that, like when you talk about the mountains you've climbed, my husband climbed Everest, like you're all nuts. But when I hear things like this, I'm like, that is impressive. Like
She's
that
amazing.
That is amazing.
We believe that she's the first woman of color to complete an expedition like this. And Chandi is of Indian descent and of the Sikh faith. And she has talked about how she wants to encourage people, regardless of their ethnicity or background, to push their boundaries. What? This woman is awesome.
And 32.
And 32. She's 32.
Though you know what? Honestly, I mean, the 32 part, when you think about it, actually kind of makes sense, because I think right now I'd be like, okay, do we have the salon pause? Do I have my fiber supplements? Like, I think this was a project for the young, but God bless.
She skied pulling a 192-pound sled.
When I read that, I was like, but where were the dogs that were taking her? But there were no dogs. It was all her.
No, she just skied her, like, unbelievable.
She wasn't yelling mush.
No, she wasn't. Oh my goodness. What an incredible woman. Do we have any roasts? We got some roasts.
Oh goodness. It's a week for roasts. Can I roast Wasilla's sweetheart, Sarah Palin?
Oh, I was like, you're going to have to be more specific. I know a lot of people who are from Wasilla. So
Sarah Palin has lost her damn mind again and went on some crazy rant calling AOC sex obsessed because she went to dinner with her boyfriend in Miami, and AOC was like, stop being obsessed with me. And Sarah Palin's like, I'm going to double down on my obsession for you, and I'm going to do it by repeating the following sentence, which, please.
Look how the liberals, Rachel, want to pound that into the public's head, that advertising who is attracted to who, what people do in the privacy of their own bedrooms, all those things that have to do with privacy and sex. The liberals, not the conservatives, are the one who pound after that.
Sarah, could you use a different word besides pound
Stop,
in talking
Sarah.
about how other people are sex obsessed? Also, isn't she the queen of drill baby drill? This woman
can't stop herself.
Cannot. She is a walking double entendre.
All the time.
Like, I don't know if it's if it's just Freudian slips, or if she's just deliberately like pound, drill baby drill. Stop talking about sex. Don't talk about sex. Pound, drill baby drill. It's also AOC she was absolutely queenly in her pushing aside of weird comments that were made about her boyfriend's feet. She kind of made this observation on Twitter that there's like a sexual obsession with her on the right, and she's absolutely true.
Totally.
Which is absolutely true. So yeah, I don't know. Sarah Palin, I can't quite.
She can't stop. She won't stop.
John McCain did some things for this country that were good, and some things for this country that were very bad. And Sarah Palin is one of those things that he did to this country.
Yeah, I think he even knew it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he felt kind of bad about it.
I mean, all you have to do is watch that movie Game Change, and whoever was participating on his behalf definitely made it clear that he was not given all the facts when he picked her.
Yeah, it does seem that way. I also want to quickly roast, I hope this person hears it, Mozart. Mozart. Okay, so there is an Australian professor who has found evidence that Mozart has claimed credit for some of his older sister's compositions. Mozart had a sister, Wolfgang. Wolfgang had a sister named Maria. And Maria was also a prodigy, like Wolfgang was. And she was, a top-billed concert pianist, and she was a harpsichord player. So there's evidence that she wrote her own compositions. It was thought that none survived. But this professor, whose name is Martin Jarvis, believes that they did survive. They just have her brother's name on them. So he suggested that 3 out of 5 of Mozart's violin concertos could have actually been composed by his sister. Classic.
Let us all learn the name Maria Mozart.
Maria Mozart.
That is, did you have a question though related to this? Did you learn the harpsichord in elementary school?
No. Did you?
Yeah.
Did you go to school in the 1700s?
Don't be mean. Today it's all gray hair and age for me. No.
No, we learned like the flutophone.
No, I remember there being a harpsichord. I remember there
man.
being a harpsichord.
Okay, here, this isn't age related. I was going to say, did you go to Tori Amos Elementary School? Because she would have taught you to play the harpsichord.
Sorry, I'm trying to spit out a Tori Amos lyric. I don't like Mondays. That's all I got. That's all I got.
Oh, great. Okay, well, Mozart, if you're listening, give your sister some credit. I don't know.
Yeah, Maria, we see you.
We see you, Maria Mozart. This is I Feel Petty. I'm going to go first this week because, per usual, mine is kind of stupid. I think that we as a society really need to pump the brakes on celebrating birthdays early. And by that, I mean specifically with respect to Betty White, who recently died at age 99. There was a People magazine cover that said Betty White turns 100 that arrived in people's mailboxes right around the time that she died at age 99. So I think what we need to do is like, if someone is about to turn 100, just shut the fuck up. Just like be quiet. Just let them turn 100 in peace. Let's not like celebrate it, because I think that, you know, whoever is in charge of the universe sees that as a sign of cockiness and is going to like exert, like God was like, okay, you guys think Betty White turns 100? I'm going to invite her to the party up here early because you guys need to stop acting like you know better than I do what's going to happen. So yeah, let's stop celebrating 100th birthdays of beloved figures before they actually turn 100, because I am going to get superstitious if it happens again.
So I feel strongly about this. I think this was like, they were all tempting fate. Tempting fate is what my mother would say, tempting fate. And in honor of her, though, her birthday is January 17th, and people are donating to rescues because she loved animals so much. So I'm going to be donating to a rescue on January 17th in honor of Betty White, and fuck you to People magazine who took us from her too soon.
Yeah,
your
People
hubris.
Magazine's fault.
It is really
fate.
People magazine's fault for sure. For sure. Thank you for clarifying that, Dana. I think that's really important.
Yeah.
Alyssa, what are you feeling petty about this week?
Okay, guys, I don't know if this is a regional commercial or national commercial or whatever, but it's for Virgin Cruises. And they use the song Like a Virgin.
Like a virgin, touched for the very first time.
It is nonsensical. Okay, it doesn't make sense. Like a virgin, touched for the very first time, and a cruise sounds kind of rapey if you ask me. And I'm mad about it. It's on nonstop all the time. It's a very bad remake of the song. Why is anyone talking about cruises right now? I thought they were all in quarantine because there are like 84 ships with COVID. So I don't even know why this is happening. But Virgin, you really fucking jumped the shark by remaking. It's not even Madonna. It's some chorus of I don't know who, but it's terrible.
Kids
And
Bop. It's Kids Bop.
It treads on my ever-loving fucking last nerve.
You know what ship was a virgin?
Which
The
one?
Tit-
The
the
Titanic.
Titanic. Don't want to conjure up maiden virgin voyage type stuff when you're talking about a boat. You want that sea tested. You want that to be a middle-aged ship that has gone on many journeys.
That's a very good point, Erin.
Yeah.
Well tested.
Yes.
Well tested.
Yes, exactly. That's going to be like how I approach my impending middle age. I am well tested.
That's how I feel.
Yeah. Once I turn 40 in like 2 years. Dana, what are you feeling petty about this week?
All right. Did either of you see House of Gucci?
No, but should we?
No. It's
Okay.
not a good movie. It's a wild ride. But I will say, I just feel petty that Jared Leto was allowed to do whatever he did in that movie. His performance is deranged. And I mean that word in like exactly what it is meant to intend. He plays it like he's an Italian circus clown. And everyone else, like Adam Driver is sort of like keyed into like this sort of mild like suit wearing movie. And someone told Jared Leto that this was like he was doing a motion capture for like an animated movie about a dolphin or something. I cannot wrap my head around what he is doing. And it makes me feel insane watching it, where I'm like, how is this allowed to be put to film? So I feel petty about that specific performance in that movie, which I saw this morning was nominated for a SAG award for Best Supporting Actor Performance. It is baffling to me.
What dirt does Jared Leto have on people? Because remember his performance in Blade Runner, the like newer Blade Runner? It was distractingly weird.
At least Blade Runner, I'm like, okay, the costumes are weird, like the sets are weird, like you're going big in like a big world. Everyone else in this movie goes fairly grounded, and he goes Ronaldo McDonald. I cannot wrap my head around it.
Italian
feel
clown
insane.
dolphin. I will take that
Yeah,
one.
Italian clown dolphin. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, Lady Gaga as an actor tends to kind of serve slightly over the top.
Imagine if it makes her look like,
Stayed.
yeah, it
Jessica
makes
Chastain.
her, yeah, look like Helen Mirren. Or like a restrained Olivia Colman in The Lost Daughter is what Lady Gaga looks like compared to Jared Leto.
Right, like a Frances McDormand type.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay. Well, Josh actually worked on the campaign for that movie, and I've heard such mixed reviews about it. I've got to watch it now. I've got to like gird my loins for this Italian clown.
It's like it's a fun time. Like it's just not like an amazing. I didn't think it was like an amazing movie, but Jared Leto's performance is so out of left field to me. I found it wildly distracting, and I just don't know why he was allowed to do it. I think he should be tried. I think he should have to stand trial.
Look, the Italian justice system has tried people for less.
Yeah, you know
True.
what?